I welcome you all to the 2019 Mid-Year Meeting Press Briefing. The Board of Fellows of PSN was founded in 1972 with an initial membership of 20, and the founding fathers designed it actually to be a body of men and women of distinction and integrity who would interface with the policymakers and opinion shapers for the advancement of the pharmacy profession. And within the profession, the Board of Fellows acts as a modulating and a stabilizing factor. It is the highest realm of in the pharmaceutical PSA. The mid-year meeting of the Board of Fellows is actually the most important event of the board, and it affords the fellows an opportunity to examine the positions of the board, the PSN, and the profession, and then strategize for their better positioning. It is also a time to participate in national discourse and make our contributions. The board, through her mandate, promotes lectures on issues of contemporary importance within and outside the profession of pharmacy. In this regard, we are glad to announce the 2019 Board of Fellows PSN Mid-Year Lecture. And this is the board's first public lecture, and indeed in the history of the profession of pharmacy in Nigeria, it's the first, and also for the 92 years existence of PSN, this is the first public lecture. For this event, Professor Ibrahim Agbola Gambari, CFRO, OCORT, a world-class scholar, diplomat, and Nigeria's former ambassador to the United Nations, shall deliver this year's Board of Fellows Media Lecture with the theme, Rebirth of Nigeria, Harnessing the Great Potentials. I repeat, the theme, Rebirth of Nigeria, Harnessing the Great Potentials. Nigeria is indeed a great nation with great potentials, but how do we harness, grow, and sustain these potentials? From the pedigree of Professor I.A. Gambari, CFR, I am confident the lecture will be incisive and discerning. It will be a good tool for unlocking and harnessing the great potentials of this great nation. Proudly Nigerian. That's what we want. We want all these potentials to be harnessed, and we want to unlock whatever is blocking these potentials must give way so that Nigeria will be a better country. The chairman for the public lecture is Mrs. Sarichi Afusa Demure. I'm sure you're all familiar with her. She is actually the chairman, Guarantee Bank PLC. Sorry, Guarantee Trust Bank PLC. That's the GTB itself. It is no longer news that the incidence of drug substance abuse in Nigeria has assumed an epidemic dimension, especially among the children, adolescents, and youths, which calls for widespread intervention. As a result of the threat posed by the scout, the Board of Fellows unfolded a holistic approach of combating this problem at last year's mid-year meeting. As you are all aware, pharmacists are custodians of medicines, which include drugs, vaccines, and biologicals. It has therefore become very necessary for the Board of Fellows to get involved in checkmating these menace through aggressive advocacy, campaign against drug abuse, and also rehabilitation of victims of drug abuse. We intend to collaborate and partner. We are partnering with a rehabilitation center to ensure that there's proper rehabilitation for victims of drug abuse. Remember, Our children and youth are our future, and they are the harbinger of progress. We cannot just sit down quietly and let our future be wasted. Our future will not be wasted in Jesus' name.
Amen.
They must think wise, act smart, and say no to drugs. Think wise, be wise in whatever they do, act smart, be smart, and say no to drugs, irrespective of the peer pressure. At the media meeting, the new fellows will be formally received as members into the Board of Fellows, PSN, and we have 111 new fellows coming in on July 17 at the media meeting. 111. I thought you would clap for that. That's a large number of fellows, coming in. And it spans across the industry, the community practice, the academia. In fact, a lot of people are coming in from the academia, and also the hospital. And there is a record number of fellows coming in. Over the years, some of our colleagues and organizations, they have worked hard to improve the lot of humanity. And we have identified some of them for recognition and decoration. The selection for this year's awards emphasize the theme.
I want to quote Dr. Carlo Ezera. He said, unquote, "The quality of justice depends much more on quality of men who administer the law than the content of the law they administer." Did you get it? The quality of justice depends much more on the quality of men who administer the law than the content of the law they administer. That's exactly where we find ourselves as a nation. The quality of leadership. Look at Malaysia. Like Riley said, Lincoln Yo, what did he do? When he came on board, he's a PhD graduate of Harvard, economics. I read something about him recently. He said, with his assumption of office, he was going to jettison sentiments, get the right people in the right position, irrespective of where they're coming from.
That's number one.
Are we doing that here?
No.
So, the quality of the man, we have one that is already reflected here. Because Prof is coming from the academia, for the first time we're having a public lecture. What does that tell you? I mentioned that in my earlier submission. The high quality has been brought to bear on what we are going to do. If it had been any other person, maybe that person would not have been thinking in such perspective. So the quality of leadership depends much more on the quality of men who administer the law than the content of the law they administer. So until we decide as a people, yes, I'm an Igbo man. Forget about being an Igbo man. If you get the right person from the north, and he has all what it takes to get this nation to be a great nation, so be it. But is that what we're doing here? Of course not. We only travel on sentiment. Is it to the person who is related to me? And until we get it right, once we continue to dwell on sentiment, I tell you, in the next 500 years, Nigeria is not going to come out of the woods. We are not going to come out of the woods until we decide that meritocracy has to take precedence over other considerations. Once we do that, we are on the right path. But once we don't do it, look at Ghana. Ghana, the company that built the airport in Ghana, has its office at Ikoyi. That's where they had their head office. Today, Ghanaians can get US visa under 24 hours. Nigerians, Dropbox, they stopped it. You don't drop anything. You must have to go to interview. Yesterday's social media. Yesterday's social media.
Very sad.
The interview, the American government makes over millions of naira on daily basis because of Nigerians that are refused visa. So they're making a lot of money out of us. Okay? The Chinese are getting visa on arrival. So even a truck pusher from China comes in here, presents a pass, he gets a visa. But for a Nigerian to get a visa to travel to China, you have to go through a very difficult situation. Okay? So, sorry I'm digressing, but I'm using it to make a point. There was a time, do permit me, we're all going to be frank to ourselves, because this Nigeria belongs to us all. It's not Prof or myself, it belongs to water. Except for water, which has to be treated anyway. You can imagine where a daughter of mine, sorry I'm digressing, went and bought